So it's on? Yes, it is. Just quick test. Oops. So, yeah, the topic's on hand. So, still good morning, everyone. My name is Felipe. I'll be going through some basically 3 points. It's a short presentation, but nevertheless, feel free to ask or interrupt as you wish. So, as you see in the agenda, this is the second time that I'm here in the event. I'm really happy that I'll be happy to share with you what it is about that integration itself. And as I said, feel free to interrupt as you have any question. So a little bit of myself, you can go through it, but I come from Mexico. I've been in the business, in the life science, a little bit more than 3 years, but the background that I have, as you can see, it's in software engineering and working mainly in the automotive over 10 years in Mexico, China, and Germany. Basically, I really focus in manufacturing. I have been working also as a consultant. That's what I would say. I have seen the best or worst of the two worlds, and for sure, MES integration, ERP integration, and that is why. Intro from myself. Sartorius, for those who doesn't know, I think I just added a slide. You can also go through it, but Sartorius is a life science company, biotech, located in Göttingen, Niedersachsen, and over 30,000 employees, sometimes more, sometimes less, but over 150 years of experience, or better to say, in the market. We are we're the OEMs of customers like Bayer, Novo. And important thing, what I'll be sharing, we are over 60 locations worldwide. While I work in the headquarters in manufacturing operations, we have a footprint across Europe, Asia, and so. What I will be sharing today, so just an idea of for you to know what products. So I really like to be agnostic in this sense, but I'll be talking today about fluid management and filtration. So as I said, within the bioprocess technologies, there is a range of products, and Sartorius had many acquisitions in the last years. So for sure, media, cell, bioreactors, and so. But with the example and the story that I will be telling you, it's about how we started a journey, which is not yet finished, but yeah, how we got to a point where we have integrated some few locations worldwide to have KPIs for filtration technologies and fluid management. This is, I took it from the last time, but I think it's important. So where did we start it? So as I said previously, most of us, we have a technical background. But for me, it's important to know when I go to shop floor and I've been working in at least three locations, Asia, America, now Europe, I always have learned that if you want to standardize, and we have talked about Gen AI or a lot of AI, I will not be doing so right now. So I always go and talk with people. That's what yesterday some people asked me, what is the answer for a best data integration? To be honest, I don't think there is one, but we can share some lessons learned and experiences that we have learned in the lab science area. So we started, first of all, as you see in the picture. So we have a branch portfolio of products. Let's select one of them, which for sure it's good selling, many characteristics, or better to say POM. So we said, okay, let's do the bags, plastic bags for bioreactors. So for sure it's important for us to select one location. As I said, while I work, or mainly the headquarters are in Göttingen, for this specific, the big production is in France, near Marseille. So we said, okay, let's go there. Let's pick up a line. So for us, it's important if you are working or have worked in a manufacturing plant, you have a routing, comes from ERP, but you have machines, people, and processes, right? So we said, okay, let's focus in the line which is not the complex, not the easiest one. So we select one of them. For sure, is the bottleneck, but today. And really did not start with IT, even though I'm from IT now. But I am a believer that if you have a process and people, you should ask the persons who, as we were hearing previously, sign the document of quality, that Herr Müller, who does the scrap at the end of the shift, even though it's 2 hours after the confirmation was done. So we really focus on bringing the lean, or whoever is the department calling your company, quality and operations. Those were the main blocks and we basically did a process mapping. I think it's a tool, or you will find many templates on the internet. But yeah, if you want to see it as a picture, I just put at that. So for us, we have two ends, right? Everything starts from an order. If you have it in ERP, it's good. You can have it in Excel, it's still happening. And for sure, the big question, my digital tools, should we put some of the providers that we have seen today, or you will see today, you know them, you can see them even below. So what should we do? Because as said, we have a process, we have a machine, and we have people, right? And for sure, you can see the bugs going there, and some events that everyone knows, downtimes, changeovers, and so. So we said, okay, we should. There was no answer, right? So okay, we said, okay, let's classic project management. What should we do it? I've been asked many times if I go to a location in France or here in Germany, for sure the operation manager might know a little bit of AI. He had my hair, but he wants to know what is the ROE of this initiative, right? I'm going to decrease 3 operators by 2 shifts. Yeah, hard to say. I'm going to decrease my cycle time by. The reality is that we didn't know, but we needed to have a initiative, which is a little bit decoupled from IT, but at the end we'll go to the digitization roadmap, but we needed a starting point. So we said, okay, what is really happening? So you ask the person who has no knowledge, but has been working in the company 10, 20 years. So he does this refreshment. So I don't know if you have it, but I do believe everyone has this hidden Excel, right? So which the sequencer maintains, and if he goes, and sometimes this is, I would say, the single source of truth, but this needs to be refreshed to update the data sources. In some locations for us, it's still happening. It's not a secret, even though we have really fancy MES systems, but this is still kind of the backbone if something fails. So you know if you have a RASI or do you do a risk assessment, you should put this in writing. So we said this is for us the challenge. For sure, if we want to talk about fancy solutions, everyone wants a real-time dashboard when you can see what happens across your lines. So this was for us also important to have, right? So while you need to click F5 from time to time, you also have machines. So this was, in an overall, we need real-time dashboard for the order execution. The solution, as I said, we really didn't know. So I could put three there. I could put Kafka. We could use other tools or so. The reality is we need a layer, and that's what I put there, a layer. And when I started to do data integration in automotive, back in the day, we really need 7, 8 years ago, there were no products out there. So we pick up a broker, was RabbitMQ at the time. We did inbounds, outbounds, so we did a solution out of the box. Good thing in automotive, as I said, you make tires or electronics, the difference are not that many, not regulated as in biotech, right? But we agreed that we needed some place where we can just put that, a warehouse. We didn't know what or how this will look like as a product. But we said we need data model, or as you can read, data product that reacts to what happened on the shop floor. Independently, if it is, as we heard previously, a paper, an Excel, SAP, we needed this to happen, right? What is the value? So for sure, now I could start to translate if I go to a shop floor and some manager asks me, I could tell you what are your main losses in a table. I mean, he didn't care, but I could make a dashboard that could improve your efficiency. Well, efficiency for you might have to do with, I don't know, increment the speed for our colleagues in Tunisia, it might mean to decrease the scrap. But then that was what we promised, because this is a real value that you can now monetize, that you can say, okay, you know, we achieved something. But again, that was when we said we need to do this initiative, and it was the first buy-in. Took months just to say, okay, we didn't really ask for money, more than just give me your, I don't know, sequencer 2 hours a week. That's what I need. So now, from that idea, we pick up now 4 locations. 2 main technologies, as I said, you can see there. So we are working mainly with Auban in France, Göttingen, for sure the headquarters now, Tunisia, and Puerto Rico, Yauco City. Now we start to summarize. Okay, we have not only the back product, but we have 2 main technologies, filters, cartridge, membranes, and so on, especially in Göttingen, where there is a high and big money production, something that we can impact and sell it. And for sure we have, no secret, at least for us in Tunisia, it is more, no secret, there are more people working, not that automated, but this is also a sellable point because we add people. So, we could improve the execution of your order. And for sure, Puerto Rico, which is, I would say, a middle in the between of two worlds, not Europe, for sure not Asia or Africa, but interesting lines. So we said, okay, we have over 110 lines, so we started to list them. And for sure, you will find, if you Google it, there are some assessments of line that you can do, protocol, if you read from Excel or PCUA and so. So we did it from scratch, but we started to group. So this was starting the data model and integration to happen. It can happen in paper, you can do it in Excel. At the end of the day, we agreed that if we talk about pack production, let's call this group consumables. So whoever goes and filters in Tableau or Power BI, he knows that he's talking about the same product. Basic concept that even with the MES, that, again, I love MES and I work with MES, but those basics are not. While you cover EBR, they don't cover OE. Or if they cover OE, they don't cover validation of CSV. So we said, okay, the foundations need to happen. And then we started from that, weeklies again. And we said, let's agree on something. As you can read there, if you want to translate this to our IT side, we have 2 SQLs, the IDOC from SAP, and 4 Excels. So this is the reality of what we have. We need to list what we have. We need to go to shop floor, and what happens if Müller put this in your manual Kanban? It's a downtime. But I don't have downtimes in Puerto Rico, but then list them as optional. So we started to do this exercise on a weekly basis and agreed that, yes, everyone has an ERP, SAP, now it's in SAP for HANA and so. But then we said, okay, while the technology has changed to the cloud, the events that we have defined will not change or barely change. We don't create new products every month. So we also start to define the sequence of what needs to happen and when need to happen, or when happens actually. So this was a starting point. Now you can see the story, over 100 lines, 3 locations, a lot of hundreds of dozens, I would say, of mandatory fields. Our approach, so 3 blocks mainly. So we said, okay, you want to do everything. Even if you go to ChatGPT, you need to connect. We need to have connect, store, and analyze. No asking questions. So as I said, let's ingest data. Ingest data is, give me the admin credentials. The IT team, they didn't like it, but just give it to me so that I can just take data without asking. Ingesting data, so put it in a table. Important, as I said in the previous one, while we group the reason codes and so everyone has reason codes for languages, French, German, Spanish, 3 languages. So we said, okay, let's list them. For sure, we can translate them in any language, but let's agree also in a grouping. Because while you have machines, you have people, once more, we started to cluster those. And then we did this for 1 month. As you see, now we have all the locations, over 100 lines, 1 bottleneck of them, and then we started to list them. Some of them were automatic, some are not. And then we sat together and said, okay, now let's define the targets. And let's be honest here, so while I can go to your machine, if it is connected and see what is the availability, I need to ask you because most of the times finance has this approach when they say, my target OE for this line is 80% because I just bought it 5 years ago. Those mechanic lines, where they cannot even be connected, they say, it's 60%. Okay, let's put it. Even though the value in SAP is different, but we are on that. So we said, okay, let's consider both the digital values, SAP, against what it is comes from you, because you run the business, you produce something. Yeah, and as I was saying, we group them by part numbers and families, and we are able, I wouldn't say to identify all the main bottlenecks, but we could at a certain degree differentiate within this 1 month of data. Interesting for us, again, once we have this agreement from the CI managers and quality stakeholders, put it on the shop floor. So we said, okay, now something is running. As I said, we're doing this with, if you ask about the tech stack, at that time, 1 year ago with Power Automate, now it's called Microsoft Fabric. I think you can do really nice things if you have a little bit of SQL knowledge there. And it's really not fancy, and you can use it. I would say we did that, and really made. So if something happens in column 1, sum this up, take that from the Excel, and then we deploy it. So that is our layer, as I said previously. Finally, we were able to see, I wouldn't call it real time, but dashboards in Power BI or Tableau. It's our standard visualization tool where we could see, okay, this happens. I can send an email again to Herr Müller if the line goes more than 3 times, more than 5 minutes, because we sat together and we defined this as an event 1. And I would say the people were starting to realize, I don't need to scan anymore. Everything is there. And then, only then, we started to audit, because it's not to point fingers, but to say, we have defined the data product, which is called plastic bags, as I said, or membranes, which has 3 groups. And if we set some rules together, if you don't follow them, okay, just imagine if you put a mess on that. So you will have an IT ticket, which goes to prior 2. It is solved within 3 days for basic things that they were not assessed at the beginning. So we did this, some emails internally. It was a really good example. And finally, just to summarize, but we have a chip you can see there. It's kind of a technical diagram. So once more, while SAP data is there, we cannot pull it yet, but we have created a demand. And also the applications are SQLs, and we have defined our events for the connection to the real time. The core benefits, just to mention the last slide. So we have improved quality, screenshot of the reasons. Innovation, regardless of the tool, you can create dashboards in real time or nearly real time, and efficiency, important for us, that we can ensure the continuity for the next plans that we have worldwide within the Sartorius group. Just lesson learned, you can go to them, but I would really say, like, for data integration topics and answering the question from yesterday, there's not really an answer, but rather 2, 3 ways that, in this session I can share with you if you are interested to share the Excels. There's no secret, but those are really basics that, believe me, if you take them into consideration and you go with a vendor, you will have a really good outcome out of your digital initiatives. With that, I finish. If you have questions, feel free to ask them.